Well, the inspiration, I think, for Magic Ballerina is definitely from my daughters. And just from them coming to the theatre and watching me dance, and just all those lovely stories that they brought home with them about their experiences coming to a theatre and the magic and the atmosphere, and it was lovely. They have such imagination and they had so many other things to add that it just felt so natural to put those into a story for children, and just to create also that the theatre is a wonderful place. You don't have to always just go to the movies and watch your DVDs and do the computer. And Magic Ballerina is basically inspired by them, and the dance, of course. Well, my favourite character, I think, actually is the Rat King. Probably because he's a bit naughty, and he's got great personality that comes through in the stories. But I think because he disapproves of all the dance and how anybody suddenly can change everything when they start dancing, and I think it's quite funny. And he's softened occasionally, and I think they've convinced him. But it's really nice how the three girls, Delphi and Rosa and Holly, and their adventures they have with the Rat King, I think I always enjoy reading it to the girls, and they love it. One of my most memorable ones was probably the Magic Pudding, which actually I think is an Australian writer. And there's also another Australian book that I love. Gosh, what other things? When I was getting older, I loved The Secret Garden and stuff. But I think actually, I mean, the classical stories of like Aurora and Cinderella, you know, not the Disney ones, but those base, you know, were probably one of my favourites. It probably got me into dance in the first place, because all those classics, yeah, love those. No, I didn't. I wanted to be a gymnast. And at one point I wanted to be a swimmer, and you know, I went through a lot of changes. I think my mother definitely knew that I had to be on stage, so there was a helping hand from her. But ballet actually came quite late in my life, not until I was about 13, 14, that I actually, then that was my decision that dancing was for me, and I wanted to make a career of it. And for a dance, that's an older age, because you usually start very young. I mean, I did ballet from the age of 5, but it wasn't because I wanted to be a ballerina. The advice to any dancer, I think any young girl, if she really wants it, it has to come from her. She can't be being pushed into it by a teacher or a mother or a parent or something. You know, it has to be a love, because it is a grueling life, and if you really want it, it has to come from you. And you know, I think, you know, how many times you're told that you're not right, if you believe in yourself, you can make it right. And so it gives you a wonderful confidence. However many times you can be criticised, take it as a strength, you know. I think it's a wonderful art to be involved in. I feel very fortunate. It's just a short career, so be prepared. It's a full time. You know, you live and breathe it. So that's the only thing I'd say. Be prepared for that. Sadly, no. There was probably many a costume I would have loved to have kept. But the costumes, I was given a beautiful costume when I left the Royal Ballet as a present, which was quite wonderful, because I know it was in a bank safe somewhere, which is extraordinary. But the costumes are so expensive, so I can see why they don't give them away. They are recycled, and a lot of ballerinas will wear. I mean, I wore, when I first was made a principal, I wore some great ballerinas costumes. But when you're doing new productions, it's always great to have those costumes of your own, but sadly they're not always passed down. I don't like to have treasured possessions. It's difficult actually, because I suppose photographs and any sort of film footage would be a wonderful treasure to have, or to be able to show to your children, or if I had grandkids and all that. I think that's just a lovely thing to have. And I suppose the best treasure is having a family, and that's been quite magical, but I don't want to possess them. Ice cream, oh, I suppose it's cookie dough with Ben and Jerry's, or Jerry and Ben's. No, what's it say? Ben and Jerry's. I said it right the first time. I've been asked this one before. I think I must change what I said last time, because I think one of the things was an eyelash curler. You know, that I was very worried about, and everybody looked at me. I said, no, they're incredibly useful, and then I wouldn't have to worry about any mascara. I don't know, I think, well, obviously a dictionary or some major book that I would never get bored of course. I'd like to take my children with me to experience that, and my husband probably would have to come in as well. Yeah, and it'd be lovely to build a tree house. But I don't know, I suppose an endless amount of fresh water would be good, really, wouldn't it? Yeah, difficult. And maybe some Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. I have many favourite things in Australia that I'm doing now, but I will always miss London. I think it's just part of me, really, being a Londoner, and I feel very natural here, and it's always going to be home. But I have to say I love travelling, and living in another country, and also a very beautiful country like Australia, has been a treat, and I feel very, very fortunate that we've been able to experience this. And Australia, just living by the ocean, is transfixing for me. I love being by water, and it's incredibly green. Actually, Sydney gets more rain than London does, so I'm not running away from anything, but it comes down in buckets. It doesn't dribble.